alone again. Her apartment smelled of candles and lemon cleaner. Every night she walked her little tan terrier, Luna, around the courtyard, waving politely to neighbors but never staying long to talk. Her sister Danielle said Alana was healing, not celebrating, just breathing again. But peace for her never lasted long. Marcus Reeves was 36, tall, and built from years of warehouse work. He and Alana had met in college, married young, and built a life that looked solid from the outside. But inside their small home in Lithonia, arguments grew like mold. Marcus controlled everything: who she talked to, how long she stayed at work, what she wore. When she left him, Marcus told friends it was just a break. He'd show up at their old church asking if anyone had seen her. When she stopped answering his calls, his texts turned from sweet to sharp. He sent messages like "I miss you," followed by "You'll see what you did to me." Then silence. Weeks later, another message: "You belong with me. I made you." When Alana changed her number, Marcus started asking mutual friends if she'd moved into some fancy gated place. He even drove by her job once, saying later it was just coincidence. Her coworkers noticed her hand shaking slightly when she clocked out that day. She laughed it off, but she knew it wasn't over. The first time Alana mentioned the silver Nissan, she tried to say it casually. She told her sister she thought she'd seen Marcus's car near the complex gate twice that week, once parked across the street, once creeping past slowly at night. Danielle urged her to tell security. She did. A guard logged 2 reports of a vehicle matching that description idling by the entrance after hours. When officers followed up, Marcus claimed he was visiting a friend nearby and didn't realize she lived there. Still, the feeling stayed. She'd noticed headlights in her mirror too long. Her phone would buzz from blocked numbers that hung up after one ring. She even found her trash bin rolled from the curb before collection day. Something Marcus used to do for her. Small, strange reminders. Quiet messages saying, "I still know your routine." Alana began waking up earlier, leaving before sunrise just to avoid any chance of crossing his path. The gate that once gave her comfort started to feel like a cage with too many mirrors. Residents at Harbor Ridge Apartments had one complaint: the side maintenance door. It was meant for landscapers and repair crews, but the latch didn't always click. Anyone could push it open if they knew where to pull. People had emailed management about it for months, but it stayed unfixed. It was hidden behind shrubs, partly off camera, just out of sight from the main security feed. Marcus knew that door existed. He'd seen workers use it on his visits to drop off mail during the separation months earlier. That same door became his point of entry. No key code, no alarm, just one weak hinge between him and the woman who no longer wanted him. Later, when investigators reviewed the layout, they realized Marcus had been spotted near that area twice before, blending in with the workers, holding a rake, pretending to make a call. He'd been rehearsing. Friday, March 8th, surveillance shows Marcus's silver Nissan crawling down the road at 10:47 p.m. Headlights dimmed. He passes the gate once, then circles back, parking on a side street near a patch of woods that borders the complex. Inside her apartment, Alana was folding clothes and setting her alarm for a weekend trip to Savannah with friends. It would be her first getaway since the divorce. She called her sister at 10:11 p.m., laughing softly as she zipped her suitcase. Danielle said she sounded happy, lighter than she had in months. Before hanging up, Alana said she finally felt like she was getting herself back. Around that same time, the complex's front camera shows Marcus still parked, engine off. He sits there for almost 30 minutes, staring at the gate through the windshield. The streetlight catches a glimpse of his face, blank, focused. At 11:03 p.m., he steps out of the car carrying a small grocery bag. Inside would later be found gloves, duct tape, and a pack of wet wipes. At 11:19 p.m., the front gate camera records Marcus walking toward the maintenance door. His shoulders are hunched and he moves with purpose, glancing only once toward the road. 2 minutes later, Alana's Ring doorbell activates. The footage begins with Luna barking from inside. The chime sounds, then the door opens. Alana steps out in her robe, holding her phone. Her face shows confusion, not fear. She looks down the hallway, then slightly smiles, nervous, unsure. Marcus must have said something from the other side, something soft enough to make her believe it was okay. The camera catches her saying a few quiet words before she steps fully into the hall and closes the door behind her. The screen stays frozen on that closed door for 23 seconds before the recording cuts off. That was the last footage of her alive. The next morning, Alana's phone goes straight to voicemail. Her sister assumes she left early for Savannah, but when Alana doesn't text back by afternoon, something feels wrong. By sunset, her car still sits in the same parking space. Luna's barking can be heard faintly from inside. A neighbor finally calls security for a welfare check. When officers arrive, they find the apartment door locked from the outside. Her purse sits on the counter, keys missing. The packed suitcase is still near the door. Luna trembles by the window, barking toward the gate as if waiting for her to return. Detectives quickly declare her missing. Flyers go up across the complex that night. Residents huddle in fear, replaying their own camera footage to see if they missed something. No one realizes the truth is already hidden in plain sight, in the very security feeds meant to protect them. Detectives begin their review that same evening. They start with the main gate camera, scrolling hour by hour. It doesn't take long to notice a familiar car. Marcus Reeves's silver Nissan, parked along the curb from 10:40 p.m. until after 1 a.m. From another angle, a smaller camera captures a dark figure walking toward the wooded area behind the complex around 11:22 p.m. The same time Alana's ring feed ends. When they finally access the maintenance door camera, one that had been marked offline, they find a single second of motion before the feed cuts again. Just a shadow slipping past the lens. At 2:03 a.m., traffic cameras miles away record Marcus's car turning onto Interstate 20 heading west. He told detectives later that he went for a drive to clear his head. But by then, investigators already had his license plate, his timestamp, and a growing timeline that didn't lie. Within hours, they knew this wasn't a disappearance. It was something far worse. By Sunday morning, detectives have a full trail to follow. The silver Nissan is spotted again on Highway 78, heading toward Lithonia. They pull nearby gas station footage and find Marcus Reeves at a pump around 2:41 a.m. He's wearing the same gray hoodie from the gate footage. The camera shows him cleaning his hands with a bottle of water, tossing something into the trash can beside the pump. He then uses a towel to wipe down the car door handle and fuel cap. When investigators later search that trash bin, they recover 2 latex gloves, a strip of duct tape, and a pair of disposable shoe covers, still damp from use. Detectives trace Marcus's movements through toll records and phone pings, each one matching the exact window between Alana's last footage and his return home. When they bring him in for questioning, Marcus keeps his tone even. He says he couldn't sleep and went out to clear his head. He denies being near her apartment at all. But the digital timeline tells another story. The license plate reader outside the complex logged his car twice that night, once arriving, once leaving. His phone pinged off a tower less than half a mile from her address at 11:28 p.m. It's enough for detectives to start a search. Monday morning, a team of K-9 units and volunteers spread out through the wooded area behind Harbor Ridge Apartments. The ground is soft from weekend rain, and the dogs pick up a scent trail almost immediately. Less than 50 yards from the maintenance door, officers find disturbed soil near a drainage ditch, fresh tire tracks pressed into the mud. The smell in the air is faint but unmistakable. By that afternoon, a missing person alert floods social media. Neighbors post photos of Alana smiling beside her dog, describing her as sweet and cautious, someone who wouldn't disappear on her own. The community begins combing through their own footage, ring cameras, dashboard videos, anything. One resident provides a blurry clip of a man dragging what appears to be a duffel bag toward the tree line around 11:30 p.m. 2 days later, police return to the same ditch with ground-penetrating radar. Under 18 inches of soil, they find a shallow grave wrapped in a gray comforter from Alana's apartment. The search that began as a missing person case ends there. The medical examiner removes the body carefully, confirming by dental records that it's her. The autopsy results arrive 48 hours later. Cause of death: manual strangulation. Estimated time of death between 11:25 p.m. and 11:40 p.m. Just minutes after her ring camera went dark. Defensive injuries mark her wrists and arms, small bruises along the jawline. No sign of sexual assault. The medical examiner concludes the attack was short and deliberate. an act of rage, not impulse. During a press briefing, the DeKalb County coroner explains that she likely struggled for less than 30 seconds. Her family listens in silence, her sister holding Luna in her lap. When the report is released, community anger grows. Residents who once felt safe behind gates and cameras realize how little those walls truly did. Alana's apartment, still sealed for evidence, becomes a makeshift memorial, flowers piled against the gate where she was last seen alive. Inside the DeKalb County Police Department, detectives confront Marcus with everything they have. The footage of him entering through the side door, the gas station clip showing him cleaning his hands, the time-stamped drive out of the complex at 2:03 a.m. For the first hour, he denies everything. He keeps his hands folded, voice calm, insisting he just wanted to talk. Then they show him the photo of the gloves pulled from the gas station trash can, covered in traces of soil and tiny fibers matching Alana's robe. His breathing changes. He leans forward, staring at the photo, silent for nearly a minute. When the lead detective asks what talking looked like that night, Marcus mutters, almost to himself, "It wasn't supposed to happen like that." He asks for water, then a lawyer. The interview ends. Within hours, a warrant is issued for his arrest. By dawn, squad cars line the street outside Marcus's small townhouse in Lithonia. News helicopters circle above as officers lead him out in handcuffs, wearing the same hoodie from the footage. Reporters shout questions he doesn't answer. His eyes stay fixed on the ground. Inside his home, investigators find Alana's missing keys, her phone case, and a half-torn grocery receipt from the night of the murder. At a press conference that afternoon, the district attorney calls the footage irrefutable proof of premeditation. Neighbors from Alana's complex watch the broadcast together, many crying, others angry that the system didn't protect her when she reported being followed. Within 48 hours of Marcus's arrest, the apartment complex finally repairs the side maintenance door and installs 2 new cameras covering the area. But for Alana's family, it's too late. The trial begins 6 months later in Fulton County Superior Court. Prosecutors lay out the timeline frame by frame, the gate footage, the Ring doorbell, the highway camera, the gas station clip. In total, over 6 hours of surveillance from 4 different angles show Marcus's movements that night. The jury watches in silence as the final Ring clip plays, Alana opening her door, stepping out, and disappearing off screen. Her sister testifies about Alana's fear in the weeks before, how she'd said she sometimes felt watched even behind gates. The defense argues that Marcus acted in a moment of passion. They claim he only wanted closure and panicked when the conversation escalated. But prosecutors point to the gloves, the duct tape, the pre-packed bag in his car. They call it calculated control, the final act of a man who couldn't stand losing power. After 3 days of testimony, the jury deliberates for less than 3 hours. The verdict: guilty on all counts, first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and unlawful entry. On sentencing day, the courtroom is full. Reporters line the walls, cameras aim toward the defense table, where Marcus sits motionless in his orange jumpsuit. Alana's family occupies the first 2 rows, holding a framed photo of her standing by the gate, sunlight hitting her face. The judge's tone is measured but firm as she reads the sentence. Life in prison without parole. She says, "You invaded a space she believed was safe. You made her fear permanent." Marcus doesn't react. He stares forward as deputies move in. Outside the courthouse, Alana's sister speaks briefly to reporters. Her voice shakes as she thanks the detectives who never gave up and the strangers who sent in their footage. Back at the Harbor Ridge complex, maintenance crews finish installing new lighting and a memorial plaque near the gate. In memory of Alana Reeves, a life taken, but never forgotten. Residents now pass by quietly, pausing before entering. The hum of the new security light fills the silence she once walked through each night. Months after the verdict, the Harbor Ridge gate still stands in silence. Most nights, the cameras record nothing more than residents coming and going. Delivery drivers, late-night walks, the hum of normal life returning. The footage by the gate became the key to understanding what happened that night. It captured the moment a man's obsession crossed into violence, and the moment justice began. Investigators still use the footage from that night in training sessions, reminding new detectives how a few seconds of video can expose an entire crime. The frame of Marcus Reeves standing at the keypad is shown as a case study, an image of calm before violence. Neighbors say they still think about Alana when they pass the entrance. Some leave flowers near the base of the gatepost each March, the week she disappeared. Others simply slow down, glance at the lens above them, and keep driving. The footage remains archived in the county's digital evidence system, labeled only by date and time, March 9th, 12:07 a.m. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and share, and stay tuned for more stories.